ahead and work on the final exam review. Let's start with number one. It says, what is the value of 4 times 2x minus 7? Well, 4 times 2x minus 7 means we're going to use distributive properties to multiply the number in front to everything inside. 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And we're done. That's it. All right, let's go to number 2. Write the expression in simplest form. We got negative 4x plus 7 plus 2x minus 11. Oh, this is pretty easy. I'm going to take this negative 2x and put it on, or the positive 2x and put it under the negative 4x because those are like terms. I'm going to take this negative 11, stick it under the positive 7 because they're like terms, and then I'm going to combine my like terms. All right, so 11, remember when my signs are different, I find the difference. So I'm going to subtract. I take the big number minus the small number, that's 4. 11 minus 7 is 4. And I keep the sign of the big number, so it's a negative. Then I've got, again, two different signs, positive and negative, with these terms with x's at the end. I'll take the big number minus small number, that's 2x, and I'll keep the sign of the big number, negative 2x minus 4. That's it. I can't combine these. They're not like terms, just like our first answer up here. Number 3 says use properties or equalities to solve this. Well, I've got x over negative 4. That's going to equal negative 9. Well, to solve this is very easy. X is being divided by 4. I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to multiply it to negative 4 over 1. Whatever I multiply to one side, I do the other. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 9 times 4 is 36. And 36 over 1 is 36, so I really don't even need to put the 1 there. And so that tells me that x is going to be equal to 36. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 4. It says negative 6 plus x equals negative 17. I'm going to work this right here. I'm going to have to add 6 to both sides to get rid of 6. Remember, I want x by itself. That means I'll have to add 6 to this side. I know that negative 17 and positive 6 have different signs in front. My signs are different. I find the difference. I'm going to have to subtract. This will give me 11, and I keep the sign of the big number. That's negative. So x is going to be negative 11. Next, we got number 5. This is a two-step equation. I'm going to write this out over here. Got 2x minus 3 equals 5. Well, first I'm going to combine like terms. Remember, I'm solving for x, so I'm going to get rid of everything. So x would be by itself. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Now I got 5 plus 3, and that's 8. And 8 is going to equal 2x. To get 2 away from x, I'm going to divide it away. Remember, 2 is being multiplied to x, and I need to do the opposite in order to bring that 2 to the opposite side. The opposite of multiplication is division. But whatever I do to one side, I do the other. Now 8 divided by 2 is 4. My answer is x equals 4. Number 5, that was number 5, x equals 4. Number 6 says write an equation to represent the statement, then use properties of equality to solve this. 4 less than 3 times the number. I can write that by putting 3x. Remember, this is 4 less than, so I'll be taking 4 away from 3x. And it says is positive 2. Well, now I got a two-step equation like I did up here. I'm going to do the same steps to isolate x. I move everything away from it. I'm going to add 4 to both sides in order to get rid of that negative 4, because the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. This would give me 3x, which is equal to 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. Now to get 3 away from x, I divide it away. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that tells me x equals 2. Next is number 7. This is a two-step equation with an inequality. I'm going to solve it the same way that I did with the equation. Once again, I'm going to move everything away from x. I got a negative 6 here, so I'll add 6 to the side in order to get rid of it, which means I'll add 6 over here. Negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1. And now I know that negative 1 is going to be greater than or equal to x over negative 3. I remember that my variable x is being divided by negative 3, so I'll have to do the opposite to get rid of negative 3. The opposite of dividing by negative 3 is to multiply by negative 3. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Now I got a negative times a negative, that's a positive, and 1 times 3 is 3. And x is left alone because the negative 3's cancel each other out. But remember, whenever I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to remember to turn my inequality somewhere in the other direction. It did say to make a graph, so I'm going to put my graph here. I know that this is going to be a dot, not a circle, because of that line underneath. I'll put 3 there, and then remember, x is bigger than or equal to negative 3. That means all the numbers that are bigger than 3 are the ones that I'll shade in. Let's go to number 8. It says write an equation to solve or to show the angle relationship and use properties of inequalities to solve for the value of x. Okay, if I use an equation for this, I remember that all lines equal 180 degrees. If that's true, then 4x plus 120 have to equal 180. Well, I got a two-step equation again. Whoa, what happened here? And with this two-step equation, I'm going to go to subtract 120 so we can get x by itself. Whatever I subtract from one side, I do the other. 180 minus 20, or 120 is 60. And 60 is going to equal 4x. Remember, my 4x comes down. I didn't do anything with it up here. I have to divide 4x by 4 to get x by itself. And whatever I divide from one side, I do the other. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So my answer must be 15. All right. Says here, number 9 is what is the classification of this triangle by its angles and its side? Remember, when it comes to angles, there are 3 different types of triangles. When it comes to angles, there is the acute, which means all of my angles are less than 90 degrees. There is the right triangle, which means one of my angles is 90 degrees. And then there's the obtuse, meaning one of my angles is greater than 90 degrees. When it comes to sides, there is the equilateral triangle, which means all my angles or all my side lengths are the same. There is the isosceles triangle, which means 2 of my sides are the same. And then there's the scalene, which means none of my sides are the same. So when it comes to this one, I would classify this as an isosceles and acute, an acute isosceles. All right, let's move on. Number 10 says write an equation for the triangle, solve it. I can remember again that when it comes to triangles, all the angles equal 180 degrees. So this is going to be x plus 30 plus 30 equals 180. Well, I know 30 plus 30 is 60. So I can say this is x plus 60 equals 180. Now the opposite of positive 60 is negative 60. So I will subtract both from both sides. This will give me x is equal to 120. Because 180 minus 60 is 120. That means x equals 120 degrees. Number 11 says on a map, the scale is 1 inch equals 120 miles. What is the acute or the actual distance between two cities if the map distance is 3 and 1/4 inch? Remember, 1 inch equaled 120. So all I have to do is take 3 and 1/4 and multiply it to 120 over 1. All right, the other way you could go ahead and say this is to say that you know that 1, we're going to use cross multiplication here, 1 inch equals 120 miles. Put that equal to 3 and 1/4 inch over x, and we're looking for the miles. When we do this, 1 inch will equal x, and that's going to be 1 times x, and that's x. And over here, we're going to have 120, as I said a second ago, times 3 and 1/4. I'm going to have to go around the world to solve this one. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13, so this would be 120 times 13 over 4. Use my calculator to solve this. Remember, I'm going to treat this 120 as if it was over 1. So now I've got 120 times 13, and that's going to equal, I'm sorry, that's at 20, so I'm going to have to redo that. 120 times 13 divided by 4. That's going to give us 390. So the answer is 390 miles. All right. Let's go number 16, identify the base of this figure. Identifying the base means I'm going to go ahead and identify the item that is not a triangle. Unfortunately, every one of these sides is a triangle. So this base is going to be a rectangle. And I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Identify the side that is not a rectangle. Unfortunately, all of these are rectangles, which means the base will be a rectangle. Number 15 says, find the surface area of this shape. Wow, I totally was going down here. I should have went to number 12. I'm going to go back over here to number 12. I apologize for that. What is the circumference of this circle? Remember, the circumference formula equals diameter times pi, or 2 times radius times pi. We've got a diameter over here, so we're just going to take 24.6 and multiply it to 3.14. So if I do that, let's see, we've got 24.6 times 3.14, that's 77.244. 77.2. So I was round to the nearest 10th. 4 is less than 5, so it'd be 7.2. All right, let's go to number 13. 13 said, what is the area of the circle? The area formula is pi r squared. The radius of the circle is 4, so we're going to have 3.14, and then we're going to be multiplying that to 4 squared. Well, 4 squared is 16, so now we have 16 times 3.14. Well, 16 times 3.14 gives me 50.24. And it says again, rounded to the nearest tenth, so this would be 50.2. Let's go to number 14. What is the area of this figure in square centimeters, rounded to the nearest tenth? Well, this figure comprises of a rectangle and a semicircle. Let's solve for the rectangle first. The rectangle is 12 by 26. So rectangle equals 12 times 26, because we know the formula for a rectangle is length times width. What's 12 times 26? 12 times 26 equals 312. All right, let's solve for the semicircle now. The semicircle is half of the formula of a circle. The circle is pi r squared. So the semicircle will be pi r squared times 1/2, or divided by 2. Well, let's see. Pi is going to be 3.14. The radius is going to be half of this distance here, which is 26. So that would be 13. And then we'd multiply that to 1/2 or divide it by 2, however you want to look at it. So let's take 13 square first. That's 13 times 13. That equals 169. Now we're going to take 3.14 and multiply it to 169. And then we're going to multiply that to 1/2 or divide it by 2. So we're going to take 169, multiply it to 3.14. All right, and then we're going to divide it by 2. That gives us 26533. 265, and remember, we're rounding it to the nearest tenth, so it'll be 3. All right, let's go ahead and go to number 15. I guess 15 was up here. Actually, there it is over here. I don't know how 16 got ahead of it, but I will go ahead and fix that later. So number 15 says, find the surface area of the cylinder. Surface area means I need to find the area of 2 circles. We know that the circles are pi r squared. So since I have 2 circles, I'll multiply this to 2. I'm going to add this to the surface area of a rectangle. The rectangle is going to be the height times the circumference of the circle. So the circumference formula is 2 times radius times pi. All right, let's replace all these variables with numbers. Well, 2 stays the same. I know that pi is 3.14. Now we have radius squared, and the radius is 2, so this would be 2 squared. We'll be adding this to 2 times the radius, which is 2, times pi, which is 3.14, times the height, which is 6. Okay, well, we know that 2 squared is going to be 4, so this would be 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. We'll be multiplying that to 4. Let's go ahead and solve that. 6.28 times 4. That's going to give us 2512. Double check that. Yeah. Now let's solve this other side. I know that 2 times 6, I'll take these 2 over here. 2 times 6, that's 12. And then 2 times 3.14, again, that's 6.28. Now I have 12 times 6.28. And that's going to equal 7536. When I add these 2 together, that equals 100.48. remember this is feet, so it's 148 feet. And since this is area, it's squared. And let me not forget over here, this is also feet. So this again will be feet squared. I don't think the rest of these were talking about area, so I think we're good. All right, let's go on to number 17. What is the volume of this triangular prism? Not sure we cover this in class or if it's going to be on your test, but just in case we throw it in there. Remember, the volume formula says that we're going to take the base. Remember, volume equals the big B times H. H is height and B is the formula for the base. The formula of a triangle is, let's see, base times height divided by 2, or multiplied to 1/2. And then we're going to multiply whatever answer this is to the height. Well, I know that this is going to be 1/2 times 5 is the base times 3, which is the height. And then we're going to multiply it to the height of this prism, which is 10. Well, I know that 1/2 times 10 is 5. And now I've got the 5 and the 3 still in here. I know that 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 times 3 is 75. So the volume of this is 75 meters cubed. All right, we're going on to number 18. What is the surface area of this cube? Well, the surface area of this cube is going to be adding up all the sides. Luckily, all these are 12 by 12 by 12. So we can take 12 times 12. Really, that's 12 squared, right? Whatever our answer was, we're going to multiply it to 6 because there's 6 sides. So I know 12 times 12 is 144. 144 times 6, well, that's the real question, isn't it? 144 times 6 is going to give us 864. This is 864 centimeters. That's its area squared. Number 16 says, find the volume area of this cylinder. Remember, volume is equal to big B times H. In this case, the formula for a circle is the base, and that's pi r squared. And we're going to multiply that to the height. Pi is 3.14. The radius here is 2. So I'll multiply this to 2 squared. And then the height is 6. So we'll take this and multiply it to 6. This is going to give us 3.14 times 4 times 6. Well, 4 times 6 is 24. So now I got 3.14 times 24. Well, 3.14 times 24, that's 75.36. 75.36. All right, let's go to number, let's see, that was 19. Looks like they're misnumbered again. Wow, this is 18. Not quite sure why this is in here twice. We're going to X this out because that was already volume. Maybe because this one shouldn't have been in there. But let's follow through. That's 18, 19. We'll go to 20 over here. The spinner shown is spun once. Find the probability. Write an answer as a fraction in decimal form. Well, if I do this, this is find the probability. The spinner spun once. Find the probability. Write the answer in a fraction, in a decimal, and in a percent. So the spinner is spun once. Find the probability. Write the answer in a, doesn't really say, oh, here we go. P, the probability of a vowel. All right, so there's E as a vowel and A as a vowel. The rest of these are not. So that's 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is equal to 1/3. Okay. Like the fraction, as a fraction, a decimal, well, okay. 1/3 is a fraction equals the decimal. Well, that, I could take 1 divided by 3 in my calculator and get the decimal, because every fraction is a division problem. 1 divided by 3. That equals 0.3 repeating. And then as a percent, remember, as a percent, it's moving the decimal over twice. So this would be 33.3 repeating percent. All right, let's go to next one. It says a spinner mark with 4 sections, blue, yellow, blue, green, yellow, and red was spun 100 times. The results are shown in the table. Refer to the table to answer the question 21. Find the experimental probability of landing on green. Well, green is 16 out of, remember, they said it was 100 times. 16 over 100 is equal to, well, we can divide both of these by 2, right? 16 divided by 2 is 8. And 100 divided by 2 is 50. We can divide those by 2 again. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 50 divided by 2 is 25. So as a fraction, it would be 4 over 25. Now, as a decimal, I could put 4 divided by 25 in my calculator. 4 divided by 25, that's going to give me 0.16. And let's see, we're talking experimental problem. It doesn't really say whether to do it as a fraction, decimal, or percent. I'll put all 3, which means this is 16%. All right, let's move on to 20, that was 21. So we're going to scratch out this. This looks like they were repeats of what we've already done. And wow, that was all of it. Looks like we finished all of it. I'm going to check one more time to make sure we didn't forget. Okay, it looks like we actually did forget one. Number 22 says, what would be the total number of outcomes in a sample space for picking a number from 1 to 20 and a letter from the alphabet? Well, numbers 1 through 20 would be 20, right? And we're going to multiply these together. A letter from the alphabet, I think there's 26 letters in the alphabet. So that's going to be times 26, I believe. So let's see. I know 2 times 26 will be 52. So 20 times 26 must be 520. All right. Let's look at number 23. A bag contains 6 green marbles, 3 yellow marbles, and 4 red marbles. Fred removes 2 marbles without replacement. What is the probability that the first marble will be yellow and the second marble will be green? Well, the first marble being yellow, remember, there are 3 yellow marbles out of, let's see, there was 6 green, there was 3 yellow, there was 4 red, make sure I got all the colors, 6 green marbles, 3 yellow marbles, and 4 red. Good. This would be equal to 13. So the first one is there's a 3 out of 13 chance of getting a yellow marble, and the second one being green. Now remember, the second time we never replaced that yellow marble. So though there are 6 green marbles left in the bag, there's now just 12 marbles left in the bag. Okay. When we do this, we multiply across, and we're going to see we have 3 times 6. That's going to be 18. And actually, we can, we can reduce, can't we? Let's go ahead and do that really quick so our answer is a little easier. We know that 3 and 12 go into each other, right? So we could say that 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4, right? In fact, you could even say, I could even go as far as to say that 6 over 12 is really 1/2. That can be reduced. And that makes it a lot easier as well, doesn't it? 3 times 1 is 3, and 13 times 2, that's 26. So it'd be 3 over 26. Let's see. So what is the probability? Well, we got to do percent. So we're going to take 3 and divide it by 26. That'll give us 11.5 approximately. So that'll be 11. That's a point 11.5, right? And then we move that decimal twice to turn it percent, 11.5%. And lastly, here it says the double box plot shows the number of calories per serving for various fruits and vegetables. Compare the center of variation of the two populations. Write an inference. Well, I can tell right here that fruit, okay, we're talking about calories here, right? Fruit is going to have more calories per serving than vegetables, from what I see. So, fruit will, says, write an inference you can draw about the two populations. Fruit will typically have more calories per serving than vegetables. That's all I need to put. All right, that's all of them. Well, hope that helped you prepare for the test. Good luck, and I'll see you in class.